that's not a good sign for LNG.
Dude, this time they got a Viego as well with an Ornn. So this is a much more interesting comp. This is something we've seen in the past, you know, putting Zoom on the Ornn duty while, you know, Yagao back on Karma. So it is going to be about the Viego, going to be about the Jhin as well in a lot of these fights. A massive amount of engage now. When you're going up against a Braum, though, I actually don't mind LNG's draft. You've got bit of global pressure with Ryze, you got poking ability with Varus as well. Rounding out, you do have good engage with Wukong and the deniability for a lot of the abilities from things like Karma, Ornn as well, right? Things even like the Leona. So I don't mind LNG's draft and excited that we're going one apiece with LNG and JDG. I didn't expect this. I thought JDG were going to slap them.
Yeah, I think a lot of us did, considering top esports were slapped by JDG. It was a very convincing 2-0 earlier on, or last week, I should say, as we jump onto the Rift for the 6th and final time for the 3rd game of this day, or this series, excuse me. It's been a long day. I haven't had breakfast. I'm very hungry. See, that's why we started talking about pies. I was like, oh man, I want a pie.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have it's almost midnight here, 11:35, so it's time for a late night snack after this one, especially after how the series has gone so far. Anyone wondering what happened to Mazel? Of course, I had to jump in. Unfortunately, a bit of internet issue there. He suffers from the same thing Australia suffers from, and that is garbage internet.
Drop
I hear
bears.
the States, yeah, that one too. Our koalas are attacking the internet lines, I'll tell you what. But look, the game so far has been pretty entertaining, and you know, rounding this one out, we have Zoom back on Ornn, which a lot of people won't be happy about, but I think it's something in the past that Zoom hasn't done too bad on, and has been really good when JDG have gone through a lot of their team fighting or the best of their skirmishing phase, especially since Kanavi's on a jungler that can scale, have control. You know, it's not like Kindred, but it is something that can take some time and build up some momentum, much like his favorite Kindred pick of the past. So excited to watch him progress out as he's starting towards the bottom side.
Yeah, see how he kind of pats around, does have a fairly decent clear on the Viego, and see what kind of build he goes for. Of course, we've seen the High Noon Quiver builds a couple of times. We've, of course, seen the Divine Sunderer build, and hell, I've even seen a Frostfire build at some point. So there's definitely a lot of ways you can do it, but I like this little ward here from Ale. Just gets himself a little bit of a lane priority, pushes in, gets in to know exactly where this jungler is going to be settled up in the next minute or two.
We've had really good warding in the LPL so far. I think jungle tracking has been a big deal, considering that this is a jungle meta, right? What the jungle dictates has often been set up as game-winning plays. So I think it's really important here to track where the Viego is, especially since Kanavi versus Tarzan. I mean, Kanavi's not going to be clearing as quickly as the Udyr. We know that for a fact. And Udyr can challenge for the scuttle. He can keep an eye on Kanavi and potentially try to get into his face early on. With the burst damage, we know that will definitely trump Viego Mortensen, who a lot of people consider OP. So we look towards that first item, Penguin, and as he gets spotted out on the ward here now, Tarzan has full information while clearing the last of his camps.
Can I ask why you call him Viego Mortensen? Why is that?
Well, because look, he's heroic, right? I don't know his backstory. I don't know the lore yet. I might even create one of my own. But Viego Mortensen, fantastic actor, as we all know. Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Like, what an absolute banging actor. Quick story before we get back into the game. The scene in, I think it was Two Towers, where he banged, you know, he kicked the helmet when he's chasing after the hobbits. That was real.
Oh,
he
yeah,
broke
he
his
broke
toe.
his foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, his toes. That was it.
And he stayed in character, man. So much like, you know, how OP the champion is, I think how OP the actor is Tarzan going for an invade. So yeah, he's got to have a similar name, because why not, Penguin? He deserves it.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I'll leave that one to you. If LS can name the shopkeeper and all the different, if LCK can name all the different Rift Heralds, you can name Viego his second name. All right, I'll give you.
I feel like that's just Atlas naming Rift Heralds. To be fair, I mean they're just all like
it's fair.
very, you know, very typical names. Well, team, what's happening, Bond?
Oh, Light has to cleanse and flash away, but Yagao is here. He flashes forward with the Tane, but it's actually going to be a repeat of a teleport. Everyone's joining down on this bot side. It's actually not going to be the Ryze just yet. He is yet to join in on top of this one. Ale gets himself out, while everyone from JDG gets in. Everyone in LNG gets out. Nobody dies.
The only teleport not committed was Icon, so he'll be able to walk back to lane and have TP advantage. Something that we need to keep track of, but yeah, that's very LPL-esque. Shame no one dies, but at the end of the day, not going to be too much lost. Light without summoners, no heal on Lwandy, so maybe there was a little bit more loss. Bottoms are a bit more vulnerable for LNG.
Yeah, definitely so. And we'll see now at Light going into this, Jhin matchup for the third time as the Varus. See if he's learned anything more about it. And right now, he is, got himself a little bit of a CS lead. He was able to keep himself safe in regards to that dive in bot side. So not doing too badly. But something I did notice, excuse me, as they highlighted in the production, Icon's gone with the Conqueror rather than the Phase Rush. And I actually really like this, considering that, you're looking at a Karma which will be going into longer extended trades. And if you can get that Conqueror procced and keep those extended trades going for you, then you'll be able to do more damage in the long run.
And it's also a result of the front line he has, right? In these team fights, you've got a Braum, you've got an Udyr, you've got a Wukong too. So the ability to kind of keep dishing out damage and stay in the fights for longer is kind of nice. So yeah, good pick out there, Penguin. It'll be fun to watch how the Conqueror kind of evolves, especially with the items that come through. But JDG for now, just picking up the first dragon. I think as a result of pathing down towards bottom lane, we know that Tarzan actually backed away. So first dragon comes through, and also a result of Loken and LvMao having priority in their lane, considering that Light and Lwandy have to play safe after they burnt 3 out of 4 of their summoners.
Yeah, they have to play respectfully right now, as Tarzan is plotted on a ward as well, so they know exactly where the LNG jungler is. And he will find Kanavi as he comes in towards this lane, and they're going to find each other. There's a Scuttlebug just running around in the river, trying to see if he can keep himself safe. But with LvMao and the pressure in bot lane being in favor of JDG, don't think there's much purchase here for LNG to take.
It means that Kanavi's going to be even on CS too, right? With that third Scuttle Crab picked up, so things are going well. But Tarzan invading once again. This time onto the Wolves, he will actually get purchase for his commitment. As Zoom's walking down. We've seen this so many times. Zoom on the Ornn will actually roam down level 6, make his presence known, and try and get a play started. While Tarzan, the smooth criminal, won't be punished for it for now as Zoom starts walking back up.
Yeah, super speedy man-bear pig running around the map, making sure that he's as annoying as physically possible. As Ale now backs himself away. We do actually have a lot of animals. Wukong, Man-Bear Pig, Renekton is just banned 99% of the time.
Ornn is like a gorilla. I mean, you look at Ornn, I don't know what he is.
He's a goat. He's a goat.
okay.
He's got
Ornn's
a gorilla.
I don't know. Dude, he's chunky. He's thick with like 3 extra C's. You look at Ornn and you think, dude, that guy, he benches. So I don't know, man. You're right. He's a goat.
Big Daddy Ornn in the top lane.
I mean, he's a god. I don't think he's a goat. I mean, I think the goat's paraded. He's technically a god.
I think he's a goat god.
Okay.
Pretty sure he's a goat god. Like,
you're probably right.
He's definitely not a gorilla.
What other animals are there? I'm definitely missing some. I mean, Kindred has a wolf, so technically.
Yeah, Kindred would technically fall under that. I'm trying to think of like mid lane or anything like that, but I don't think there is. I think it was just the 4 actually, or 5. I think it was just Wukong, Udyr, Ornn, Renekton, and
true, Renekton's one. Yeah, that's alright.
Yeah.
Now you just think a lot of animals, especially this monkey who's been pretty good in the meta right now. I want to point out something that only probably Zoom could do in the Ornn versus Wukong matchup, which I'm not going to pretend to know extensively. Zoom is up about 24 CS right now, as Tarzan and Icon are trying to change that and trying to actually get something in this top side. Trying to invade on the blue buff, but JDG having none of it. They're coming.
They are coming. It's actually Shelly who gives wise to the plan, but the blue buff has been transferred over. Now we can see a little bit of a move here. Tarzan will have the safety of his top laner to go to. There's the Ornn Horn. Flash there from Tarzan. He actually gets the smite off to keep himself alive and well. And that's the first blood going up as Viego who falls down. Double kill going over to Ryze. This ain't Ice Age. There ain't no Viego. And he's going to get himself 2 kills. Lwandy here to collect the wave as well and stop LvMao from being anywhere in this fight.
That was so nice from Tarzan. You called it. It's the smite in the pit that keeps him alive, that keeps him safe. And you're a Viego who only has a phage as well, right? Against an Udyr whose burst damage on Phoenix, base stats are still so OP. So Tarzan gets fed one, another kill bites the dust. And as we look at this again, remember that Icon picks up the blue buff. He was on half mana, so there was no choice, no chance he was going to run out of mana in the fight. But it's closing target selection. Yagao's keeping Icon out of the fight. Kanavi's trying to get on top of Tarzan. Ale's taking, bloody Kanavi the whole fight as well. And because Call the Forge God doesn't land, JDG get nothing out of the fight, and LNG pull ahead by about 1,000 gold at 9 minutes into the game and give the spring in step that Icon, Ale definitely needed. And the kill's going over to Icon on this Ryze as well. He's already got a lost chapter, Penguin. I mean, this is a matchup that's already going to do fine, and now is going to be even better, considering that in these fights, he's going to be elevated with his item choice.
Yeah, as well as that, this is the first game out of the 3 where LNG have had a gold lead, where the LNG have been able to find themselves an advantage in this early game. And there's something that we learned from Spring and still feels like it would be true into Summer, is that if LNG can get the snowball, they know how to win. They know how to go from ahead and can make themselves that, you know, massive pain in the ass, really, that they can, you know, take down these bigger teams. So right now for LNG, they are feeling very, very confident. You got double buffs onto your Ryze, 20 seconds until this Infernal Drake spawns. You could probably stop the dragon stacking right now.
You really could. I mean, the serrated Dirk is a big one for me when you're looking at people like the Viego, like the Jhin, who are going to be susceptible to it. LNG pushing this further, Penguin, and I love this play. Icon's level 9. He's doing a hell of a lot of damage this early in the game, and Kanavi, you know what's going to happen.
Oh, Kanavi, where you going? Glacial Fisher. And that's just unfortunate. Tarzan picks up that one. Who is the real king of the jungle here? And they have got full vision control, like you mentioned, in that jungle. And LNG going to be able to pick themselves up a very, very easy dragon. They're even going to drop the Rift Herald into the mid lane. I don't know if it's going to get its charge off, though, in time. Actually, never mind, it will. It should be fine, as we're going to see the Realm Warp coming in. Does he get himself? Love it. Love it. Just gets himself in range. 160 gold. Icon swag plays.
That's so worth. Cheeky. That's fantastic from Icon. I want to go back to the play quickly. That was so great. And considering the regret on Kanavi's face when he took the Blast Cone to get towards his jungle faster, tried to Heartbreak her out, and if that Blast Cone was there, maybe he would have been able to survive after burning that ulti. But we just look at the gold difference now in the jungle after these past couple of plays. 1,000 in the lead is Tarzan. He's got a CS differential because he's the Udyr versus Viego. And with how well Icon's doing, I mean, this is perfect for LNG. You forget what else is going on in the other side lanes because the Ryze is going to be one of your primary damage sources, and he's so far ahead of the curve that people like Tarzan as well can set him up and he'll spike the ball down.
Yeah, and the pick potential does become so much harder. Ooh, almost getting there with the Rintus Bright. But you know, you forget just kind of how much you know, this Ryze will be able to do, because, you know, the team fight is what the Karma wants. Karma wants all of her players around her so that she can mantra, get the shield off, and really go for the empowered kind of, you know, healing as well with it. So, but if you're not getting that, if you're, you know, off on a side lane because your Ryze is just no one can deal with him 1v1, if your Wukong gets to a point where no one can deal with them 1v1, and your Udyr is just so damn fast running between lanes, the Karma loses a lot of its value in those mid-game to late-game team fights. So the fact that LNG are ahead and they have themselves, you know, the split push as such, is going to be such a huge advantage to them going into this mid to late game.
It's a good, you know, thought here, because game 2, JDG pulled them all into their web. They forced the 5v5s, even in the bottom lane we saw early with the teleport play. JDG wanted to create numbers advantage once again, but if Yagao's not able to do that this time around, it's going to be a very different landscape for LNG to play through, especially since, you know, they've started the dragon stacking now. They've got an Ocean Soul to play with if they can achieve that one this game, which is so good on champions like Ryze as well that can stay in combat for large periods. So as soon as he gets this first item, you're going to start seeing Icon move around the map. We've got that Realm Warp almost up and available again. He has teleport as well, Penguin, so I think JDG have to start paying that respect and know that the Ryze is going to be on their backs if anyone over pushes, anyone overextends, because at this point in the game, he's still going to be doing good damage. And if Tarzan's alongside him as well, I talked about it before, the burst potential is still hugely in their favor.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, thinking of burst potential, Kanavi is roaming down here with LvMao, but Light feels that something is off and backs himself away from the tower. But just talking about burst potential, you know, the longer this game goes on, if you are able to pick up that Ocean Soul, JDG's burst doesn't mean that much at all, because it does get a little later in the game. Icon flashes away, does get hit by the Ornn, but Kanavi did get him the flash as well, so 2 flashes burnt, 1 on each side, and you'll be happy with that if you're on the side of JDG. You need that flash on your Icon. Yeah,
you do. I mean, you want to punish, get that bounty away from him, and give it to someone on your team, because the gold lead's still 2k in LNG's favor. We'll see how it gets punished, though, because remember, I mean, Icon almost level 11. The Realm Warp is going to be a big tool, so he's not going to have it probably for an aggressive play. Penguin, it's been a little bit lulling over the past couple of minutes, so bar that flashing
Are we going
play.
back to pies?
You know, we're not. I'm not going to take us down that road. I feel like, you know, chat and all the audience listening have heard enough about my pies. You know, if I one day have a food stall, that would be super pog, because then I'd put like KDA characters on top of the pies, I think. You know, imagine.
I think you
Carly
get
goes
sued
much.
so
you know, like
quick.
Carly tastes.
Carly tastes good.
You bite into the pie, and there's a voice line that comes out. That'd be fantastic.
That'll be the technology at that point.
I mean, you're probably eating a microchip, so not advisable, but the pie would cost $12, so probably it's cheaper than skins. Actually, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, no, it's not. I was like, no, it's
on
not.
Par. It's on par.
Well,
Australian
it
dollar,
depends on
dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say Australia. What kind of dollar is we talking about here? Because I do euros, which is not monopoly money, unlike what you're used to.
Monopoly money. Is that because we're so colourful? I mean, our $100 note is green. You know, we got a cool yellow note as well. Our money's a lot of fun to look at.
Euros is quite colourful as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
in Ireland, you use euros, don't you?
Yeah, of course we do. We're not. See, very, very important.
Okay.
We're not part of England. Only part of Ireland is part of England, and that's where the confusion comes in.
I mean, I never thought so. Just a lot of people, you know, you're part of the EU. I don't know. Look, I don't know what happens in Europe, but on the Rift, I mean, I feel a little bit better. Luminar starting the engage. Hey, Penguin, 10 seconds of Dragon. I'll bring us back for, if only for a brief time.
Bring us back to Earth.
JDG here first, but there's a Herald down in the bottom lane, which Icon set up. So I'm curious as how LNG play this, because they should be able to push themselves in and try and catch JDG out with the limited numbers they have right now.
Well, there is TPs available and a Realm Warp, so they're actually going to be able to get Ryze on the backside of this. So Rifty will be able to take down that turret in the bot side. The Dragon has been started down to about 3,000 HP. You can see now LvMao is there. They're going to commit the 2 TPs to this. The Dragon is hovering at 2,000 HP and will reset itself up to about 4,000. Now, do you want to go for this, JDG? I don't think you do. LvMao is taking too much damage, but he's got himself a honey fruit, so he'll be K. Everyone is now backing away on the side of LNG. They've moved Ryze back into the mid lane. 2,000 HP now left onto this Dragon. No one wants to fully commit to this. It resets for a 4th time. Now we see LvMao going in. They're trying to get on top of the monkey, and they will take him down. Ale is dead. Then now the fight can really ensue. This is where Karma really comes out, and you got the resets with the Viego as well. They're going to be able to pick down Sniper 1, 2, maybe the 3rd. One more will do it. Will he be able to get it? No! There's going to be a Zhonya's, and also the Deadly Flourish going to be a little bit too early. Well, that's all been happening. Icon is on the run from the law. He's going to get flashed on. He's going to get jumped down and taken out of this game. 3 kills over to JDG, and they are back into this game.
It doesn't matter if you go 5v5 against JDG, they'll be happy to face you. And that was just a bit of a masterclass there. I think Yagao on this Karma in both games now has been so instrumental, but it has to go back out to what we saw in the engage. We'll have a look at the replay in a second, but Kanavi's going to come back. We're finally going to get this Dragon done. I don't think Tarzan's going to be here in time, so this should be given over to JDG as, you know, the bell on top of the whistle. That was that fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look at the replay here, and you can just see like the full commit. As soon as Ally steps forward, they just jump on him.
So Icon's in the back here, and he's the most fed member. It's LvMao, who you mentioned, starts the engage, and we're trying to work out the pivotal point. It's Loken in the back line, and it's reset city for Kanavi as he comes out with Heartbreaker after Heartbreaker. This is the power. If you focus down one member with a Viego on your team, you get the resets off. He can change around and pretty much form and engage as he turns into every champion on your team. So really nice work from JDG. LNG came into them though, Penguin, and this is what we said about the Karma. This is what we said last game. If you come into JDG with a composition like this, they're happy to turn around and engage and set it on their terms, as they did in that last fight. Gold may still be in LNG's favor, but they get the Dragon, and they're now 2 up.
Yeah, honestly, this is kind of what we expected to happen. You know, the Karma wants the 5v5. So you saw how fast that, you know, Speedy Shield went all of a sudden, and everyone just kind of went straight forward towards that back line of LNG. LNG can't really allow that, and actually something I didn't even really notice, you didn't go with the Everfrost here for Icon, actually opted towards the Luden's Tempest instead. So definitely going for more of a I flash and kill you kind of build, where, you know, the shields won't even matter because you're already dead.
And also, when you look at this composition, right, you're expecting the front line, you know, in Zoom and LvMao to be your first targets. You expect that Icon is going to play out, as I said earlier, the longer fights. So I actually don't mind this here. You're getting the passive magic pen as well with each legendary item that comes through. So he's really pulled it out to make sure that Zoom and LvMao are getting taken down. And that if these fights do go long, and he can get positioning advantage, that Icon can carry it through. So someone to watch coming through as he's finally picked up his first item. But Penguin walking on the other side, I think it's important to note that we have a Shirelles again for the Karma. We've got a lot of movement speed here, a lot of gap close for the engage. So Yagao definitely knows his role in this series, and JDG know exactly how they want to play these fights. They just got to wait for LNG, again, to come towards them. So excited to watch another one. I hope we don't have to wait for the Dragon for it to happen, but yeah, JDG just kind of showing us what we knew them for in 2020 and, you know, parts of 2021 spring.
Yeah, this is kind of vintage JDG at the moment. So we can see now they're kind of just going to draw onto Kanavi. But again, so difficult. You get that mantra shield, and where are you supposed to go? Where are you supposed to kind of catch onto people? And it's just a little bit of an ARAM here. I didn't realize LCS was on a random Tuesday, but here it is. And
it's weird,
I make that
right?
joke far too often.
No, but the thing is, it's weird because you know, I'm not going to be this, you know, prideful LPL caster who's like, oh, you know, laugh at LCS. It's just funny how much ARAM we actually see over in North America, and it's not a you know, slash at them. It's just it always ends up happening at least 2 or 3 of the games that are on stage for the day. So yeah,
I think it's kind of I think it's kind of also down to like the LPL top teams, not as much. But you looking at like earlier today, we had Rogue Warriors versus you know, Ultra Prime. It was a fair bit of ARAM, and like it wasn't a lot of side laning going on. So I think it's just kind of that thing of like, you know, it's like if you look to LCK and I thought they're like, you know, like any of the fanboys would be kind of like, oh, look how superior our fighting is, and like don't look at these bottom teams, don't look at these. Only look at Damwon SKT or T1, excuse me, that's who they are like now.
That's why when people say, you know, LPL's so strong, look at all the good teams, it's like, yeah, that's true. You know, our top 10, I think this split especially, a lot of people have leveled up, so our top 10 does look strong. But when we look at the bottom, you know, the bottom tier of the league, which is obviously not this game, I think LNG, JDG are showing that they deserve to be in top 8, top 6 even as a potential for both these teams. You kind of look at it and be like, well, there's the rest of the LPO, and they're very much off kilter to the people that are trying to make a playoff position. It's not harsh, it's just the truth of the matter that there's always going to be some teams who are not as good as the majority of the league, and, you know, there's always going to be that gap. So I think it's just interesting discussion.
That's a talent pool, I think. That's just a talent pool. You know, it's just how the way the world works, and there's only a certain amount of, you know, amazing players that can play on the same team as such, and you know, I think it's also down to the fact that our playoffs has, you know, 10 a literal like LCS or LEC.
Yeah, like
like literally just take the LEC and just put them in our playoffs, and that's our playoffs. So it does breed a different level, I suppose, or a different type of competition. But speaking of competition, we're gonna have to come back onto this because 15 seconds until that dragon spawns. I
was gonna point out, Lightning Jewel picked up. This is good itemization from Icon. Ornn, Leona, they're the targets you're talking about. The Ryze punching down. 211 CS as well. Icon still the carry, still the threat, but
LA.
Here we go.
Gonna go for it. I think they're too late to try and steal this dragon, but maybe they go for the fight off the back of this. They're gonna see Kanavi on the end of this one. Here we go. They're gonna get the Cyclone on top of the Glacial Fissure. As you can see, they're trying to get the damage down, but this Karma's doing so much to keep everybody alive. Now with the Realm Morph, they can get the concussive blows going, and you can see LvMao trying to run for his life. They only lost 1 miraculously. Now they'll lose 2, maybe even a 4th. Or sorry, a 3rd. I don't know where I got 4 after 2 from, but at the end of it, it's still soul point for JDG. 2 kills over to LNG.
You're talking about North America now. You're doing their math for them, Penguin. But we see that when the damage goes down in someone like Loken, the rest of the team kind of collapses. As maybe they found a pick.
Speaking of collapsing, Tarzan jumps in. They're going to try and take down this big old tanky Ornn, and he will fall. Exactly the person you said they were looking to try and take down. The health bars are a bit low. I don't think LNG can go for Baron.
It's a shame because if they're a little bit higher, Penguin, that Baron is extremely fast with the Ryze in the state he is. But LNG with a team fight win, a 3k gold lead here. This team is surprising me this split. They've already started 2-0. If they can beat JDG here, it would just be the biggest statement of the league. Is they're not there yet, but we want to look at this fight. Ale with a good flanking position. I want to look at how Loken dies here because the concussive blows and Ale flashing in stuns him up. Then Icon with the Realm Warp and Loken can't get out of this situation. Yagao can't give him enough shielding. And Kanavi, the other primary damage source at this point in the game, I mean, he's so far off. He's not towards the items he wants. I mean, I look at Viego, I see 2, 3, 4 items, maybe a bit of conversation. Even with the Divine Sunder now upgraded, but Penguin, Loken goes down, the rest of the fight's history, and LNG, they might be up against Soul Point, but another of those fights leads to Baron, leads to a Dragon of their own, leads to these structures being broken down. And it looks easy when they're able to get into the backline and destroy the damage source before the fight goes long enough where Yagao can have his influence and LvMao can help heal.
Yeah, and honestly, like, you know, this the weight of this series is so huge for both of these squads. We mentioned how they're both undefeated coming into this one, but also the winner of this joins EDG at the top, 3-0. Loser does, unfortunately, despite having a very close series, does get the L in the column. So it's that level of, you know, kind of, you know, competition that we love here in the LPL, and it's why we have so much praise for so many people and so many teams, because again, on paper, these teams are just monsters. They could probably make top 5 in pretty much any league in the world.
Yeah, we're definitely hyping them up, but I mean, I agree with that point. LNG, though, towards the Baron side. Penguin, they're going to threaten this. JDG have limited vision towards the area. And remember, with Ryze, they burn this down, so
TP.
if TP comes in, they have to pay respect.
They have to pay respect. The TP is there. Zoom is off to the backside. I don't know if they know he's there yet. Just yet. Ale is, though, having fought out, and he's going to have to back himself away. The Realm Warp was used to try and jump onto this top laner, and now he's been caught. So both top laners have been caught on either side of this fight. It is Zoom who ends up falling, and Ale gets out unscathed. Now they can turn back towards this Baron because they know there is no big Ornn.
Another time caught out, Zoom going down. The engage denied by Lwandy, a very old school counter that we know from versus Ornn. And 4 versus 5 in the Baron. Can JDG contest? Because they could die, and the game could be in LNG's palms.
Well, LNG need to be so careful, though. You have got the curtain call to come out. It has to be cancelled immediately. There is the Glacial Fissure to try and just dissuade everybody. They do land the Chains of Corruption straight away, and that's going to be the golden button for LvMao. He gets caught up, taking out another little pick. The health bars are still good. They're still healthy, but Kanavi is still here, and you have to pay respect.
Heartbreaker's going to need to come over the wall. He has flash as well. A miracle steal here. Penguin to bring it back. As good poke coming from JDG.
They can't do it.
Apparently enough, yeah. They're scared of the poke. They're scared of Yagao and Loken. So they back away, and that's a miracle for JDG. If the Baron goes over, or if JDG overcommit for the steal, it feels like that would be lights out. So the game goes on. Baron holds on. And they're still fighting for that dragon in 45 seconds, which for JDG would give them an avenue to bring back some of this game.
30 seconds, a little bit over that. You can see everyone on the side of LNG was just like, get out, get as many pink wards into your inventory as physically possible, and get the hell back onto that rift, because we cannot give away this Ocean Soul. You give an Ocean Soul to a Karma team, you're just never going to kill anybody. Pick up your last few items and look for a big fight now. You can see everyone is kind of roaming in. The Zhonya's was the first item for LvMao, so still yet to pick up his Mythic, but we do have the Locket of the Iron Solari here for Lwandy, and that's going to see just a good survivability here for LNG. They have got themselves back on the map, and they're here at the Dragon first.
Zoom needs to get an unbelievable call the Forge God here. Tarzan getting deep vision as well as Dragon spawns. We watch for that Loken poke, because if he dies, then it feels like once again LNG will take it.
Ale, he's got flash. They're going to go in with the Glacial Fissure to try and start this one off. They get on top of LvMao. He's going to be the target for the first part of this fight. Solar Flare does land on top of Ale, who flashes back himself away from this fight. Zoom is still doing pretty damn well. They do block the Ornn, and it's Viego who falls immediately afterwards. Now the Realm Warp comes in, and LNG have found the kills. They found the damage. They found the fight, and they found themselves a win in this game right now. They are looking to maybe take the Dragon and also the Baron after that.
I'm not sure about the Baron, though. You don't have the Ryze available, but Penguin, Icon's Ryze this game is bringing it forward. I mean, Light gets Chains of Corruption. There's all these good abilities that land, but For LNG, every time these fights are scattered around, it's Icon cleaning it up, it's JDG having to put priority towards this mid Ryze. And we'll have another look here because Iwandy's ult doesn't connect. And you think, okay, Loken on the edge of the fight, he's still putting away damage, but Tarzan zones him, burns away his cleanse. He's out of the fight, out of damage. And as they go into the backline, Kanavi trying to kill Light, but Icon is machine gunning. And Iwandy as well. Some clutch moments here from the Braum. I mean, Icon goes into his death and actually trades off in the end, but as Icon kites back, as Light does the same, these damage dealers manage to pump it out, and in the fight, LNG once again proved that they could be worthy of taking down JDG.
Iwandy just doing so well. You notice it in that team fight as well. He just auto attacks or throws a Q onto each individual and then turns to another because he knows that all he needs to do in that fight is get the concussive blow procs down. That's all he needs to do is get that passive down, and that will help his team out because they'll be the ones to do the actual damage in this. 0-0-10, and Light looking like a little bit of James Bond right now, 007 in the scoreboard, and really just sniping people down with a silencer and his piercing arrows. And again, we're seeing at this, point in the game, 4,000 gold lead in favor of LNG, and for JDG though, they still have to give respect to them. You still have this Karma with 3 items. You now have the Jhin with the rapid fire cannon. As I say that, they go in. Ale gets in top of LvMao as they drop down. The solar flare is pretty big, but no one can walk forward because of the glacial fissure. Loken just putting out a little bit of poke damage, and everybody gets out without dying, but the advantage very much firmly in LNG's court.
But again, the same story. If they walk up to Icon or Light, they get poked down. The realm wall towards the Baron, but 2 over the wall.
That's not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Unlucky Penguin. So, yeah, maybe could have. I'm not sure if they would have started, but look, if they weren't over the wall, let's be honest, probably would have. But as they back away, I mean, JDG will be able to clear out the vision. They'll be able to threaten the Baron here themselves, even on vision itself. But no one's back from LNG, bar Ale on the side of the map.
Again, the same problem as last time. You don't have a quick Baron take here with the Jhin. It's such a slow, sluggish movement as Ale TPs from the backside. He's going to be able to jump on top of this Baron down to 3,000 HP, and JDG back away. They do not want to fight this one just yet. They want to take the fight as it is, but they're already taking so much damage. The concussive blows, and here comes Machine Gun Kelly Icon on the backside. It's going to be so much healing, so much shielding. They do take down the 2 tanky members. It's all the damage dealers here for the side of JDG, but they are not able to stay alive. They will be falling down. Here is the curtain call to try and take them all down. Has to back away because he realized Iwandy was coming for him, and now they can turn towards the Baron themselves after taking 3 kills.
Each team has so much bloody healing and shielding. Grievous wounds come through, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. The fight was on a knife's edge, but LNG in the end, the poke coming out of Light was exceptional. And I've got to say that Serpent's Fang paying dividends against the Karma comp. LNG with the Baron now Penguin, 6k gold lead. And this roster, how they're fighting in this game, let alone this series, is so exciting to watch.
This is amazing. You can see just how scrappy of this fight gets, just how long it goes. Just as you said, the shielding and the healing and everything. I don't know what word I'm going to say next.
It's close enough, right? Light in the back end, chains of corruption in this narrow part of the river. And as LvMao goes on in, as Kanavi goes in as well, they kind of get taken down with each breath, but trying to go for Light has so much poke damage. And the shielding of Yagao's not enough. I think this is an interesting point now for JDG. The next Dragon feels like it's going to be hard to contest, but JDG want that Ocean Soul. They want to turn the tide back to the game, because if the game goes on, the Ryze continues to pump out the damage, destroy the front lines in an instant. Zoom doesn't look tanky anymore when he's up against people like Icon. You know, you'd even argue Light as well is doing his fair share of damage with the Last Whisper item. And LNG hold the position of control here. 50 seconds Penguin, and you know, this game 3 is definitely delivering so far, but delivering from one angle, that is leaning.
Yeah, it's going to be LNG really trying to put the last few kind of nails in the coffin of JDG. And again, we can't underestimate or can't understate how important of a match this is. You're taking down a possible playoff contender this early on in the season. Yes, we still got a couple more weeks to go, but these are big wins. You only play each other once. That's it. After that, it's literally playoffs or nothing. That's the next. It's literally next year. The next time you'll play against each other. That's how important these matches can be.
I mean, I can agree with you more, right? You know, the fact that you only play each other once is a big story here. The other part is the fact that LNG, if they start 3-0 to the split, we got to really start reevaluating where this team sits, as they're onto the Dragon first. And I mentioned this before, for JDG to get out of their base right now to catch some of these waves is so dangerous, considering the vision control that's been set up by LNG. So JDG have to give that one away. Now LNG are on Soul Point, which is holding the trophy a little bit higher than before. And as they group up the bottom lane as mid's pushing in, they're going to try and get more of these resources, get more of these inner turrets.
Do they look for the dive right now? They can't take down George, the cannon minion, who's buffed up by that Baron buff. It's keeping him alive, and it's just so difficult for you to defend this right now. You kind of have to wait another 20 seconds for this Baron to be gone before you really want to fully commit. But do you have the time for that? I don't think you do, because they're going to go mid with the Realm Warp. Oh, I feel like if you're just an LPL mid laner, you are just sick at Ryze. It just seems to be a rite of passage in this league. It's like every other league has one good Ryze player. Every mid laner in LPL is a good Ryze player. It's synonymous with the league, in my opinion.
What the hell? Icon 300 CS hack at 35 minutes. I know it's not that impressive, but yeah, like from Doomby to people like Icon, I know that Rookie in the past has been a legendary Ryze. Even Knight, I think, is not a too bad Ryze as well. I'll say 369 as well, a good top lane Ryze. So yeah, it feels like it definitely fits into the league, much like Tahm Kench has over the ages. And as Icon sets up for the play to get mid-turret, look at the gold lead Penguin. This looks insurmountable. It's about 8,000 at this point in the game. The Soul coming up. The Baron again in 2 minutes 25. And it's going to take a miracle steal or a good pick from JDG. I just don't know how they do it when, you know, the damage is going to be relying on Loken. And a lot of people like Ale, Tarzan, Lwandy, he's not going to be able to get through. I struggle to see how this is going to work for JDG, but we'll have the next fight to find out.
Well, the good thing for the side of JDG is they do have the Infinity Edge finished now onto Jhin, so going to be critting for about 1,087, as you saw on your screen just pop up very quickly there. But if he gets caught, if he cannot get away with the Gale Force, the Cleanse, and the Flash, the game is over. There is no extra damage on the side for anyone on the side of JDG that could really burn through them, like you mentioned. And Kanavi needs to be a little bit careful. Just going to caught out there a little bit. Does go golden very slowly. They're going to use the Glacial Fissure, and he's going to dash himself out. But that does mean that stopwatch is no longer available. Now we might see another engage coming into the top side. The Ornn has been used. It's over the tier 2, and they're on the backside. The person I said could not die is dead, and now JDG have no damage. They have no way of winning this fight. LNG are going to mop the floor with them. It's going to be so easy. You can see 1v2, and Ale knows he's got the GA. He knows he's safe with the rest of his team coming in. And with only 2 people left alive, JDG, they haven't got a hope or a prayer.
If there's time to show how broken Viego is, it is right now for Kanavi. Of course, there is one other damage source if you look at it, and it is this jungler, but you're right. How are you going to get there as Realm Warp into the turret? They just bypassed JDG.
Oh my god, they just say, nope, sorry sir, we don't need to talk to you, no need to see anything at all, and they are going to go straight for the win. LNG 3-0 in the standings, 2-1 on the day, and this is a team mounting an assault at the top of LPL.
That was just impressive from start to finish in that game. Tarzan is showing up in the league, and he helps Icon get set up for this game for success. Some beautiful Realm Warps on top of that. And LNG beating JDG, Penguin, sorry, Force to have it, is not only a
Irish
statement.
People look the same to me.
I'm sorry. Look, it's not a statement, I was going to say. It's a declaration that LNG could be one of our top teams. They're definitely performing like it. And LNG is showing us that, you know, against some of these other top teams, it might not just be an easy win. There's a big challenge right in front of your face.
The top 10 in LPL is just so unbelievably stacked right now. And it's incredible to think that we're only sending 4 of these teams to Worlds. Really is. It really is. Like it's almost a shame that some of these guys are not going to get an opportunity to kind of go up against the top of the world as to offer your Mad Lions, your Rogues, your G2s, your Damn Ones. But that is the nature of the beast, and it just breeds more competitiveness. And I gotta say, for LNG, they've started off the week of death pretty damn well. They play JDG today, they play FBX in 2 or 3 days, I believe, and then they finish it off with RNG. So good start for them as they mount, as I said, a challenge to the top standing teams in the LPL.
Because that's the thing, right? It's been V5 as an easy start, let's be real. BLG as well, mounting the success in another 2-1. JDG is a bigger statement. I am going to be curious how they go against the likes of FPX, RNG. They feel like, the upper echelon at this point. It'd be fun, though, in this form, right? LNG, I'm sure, in the background, like, people are looking at this and going, well, I wish Nelson was a part of this now. But, look, I'm sure he's looking on board and, proud of the guys, because LNG in that 3rd game, that was clinical. Penguin, that was... it was contested with the Ocean Dragons coming through, but when we got to those fights, Icon and light positioning with Lwandy playing Defect was just a masterclass.
It really was, and it's great to see this team. And we talk about the changes that came in for so many other squads, but LNG came into summer, they said, no, we're committed to this roster, we're committed to sticking to these players, and we're committed to seeing how this roster develops throughout summer. We have belief that it can do better than it did in spring, and right now it does feel like they're showing the fruits of their labor.
They really are, and for a team like this, I think there was a lot of faith coming into summer, a little bit more than spring. Maybe not as a top 6 contender, top 4, but for LNG, I think it was a conversation I had with Lyric and a couple other guys. You're definitely included in that, Penguin, where we were talking about LNG as a prospect, and it was like, this is not a spring team. This is a team that, once it comes together, could be a bit of a force in summer. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the development over spring of a team that is trying to get their roots in the LPL, and feels like they've finally got a good grasp as to where to go next.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. But for JDG,